Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Robert Meyer-Burnett.
Dude, I'm so happy today.
By Jonathan Voico.
Cheeseburger.
Oh, a little discussion going on before we started to roll. And Chris Carr's here.
Could you say that you're so happy in a happier way?
I'm so happy. I loved Andor. Woo-hoo.
There we go. Good redirect.
Most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, that's when we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or a topic you'd like us to address on the show, understanding that we're going to evaluate if we think it's appropriate to be read on the show, send it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And if you send it in as we're doing the show, we'll get around to answering it in the second part of the show. But the good news with the tip link is that it's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to our podcast feed, say either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you're watching the show a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still send in a question to the tip link. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys, that down. Let's get on to this, shall we? Supergirl. We've had a lot of stuff coming in about Supergirl recently. Found out a few more B and C level characters have been cast. We got our first look at a couple of characters. Now, there was that one image that came out of Jason Momoa as Lobo, and we were like, we don't know if this is real or not, but here it is. A lot of people have been debunking it, but we've now got our first little video look at Lobo in action. Now, it's not a great look at him, but it appears to be on the set. Again, this is an outdoor set with the giant blue screen walls put around them.
It was shot on a BlackBerry.
And it was clearly shot. There's Lobo in the bottom corner there, going through, throwing obviously what's going to be a CGI, probably his hook. And he does his best, get over here, and bring him over. So we got the classic look, the sleeveless, long leather thing. Now, we obviously don't get a good look at his face. I mean, this is 8K if I've ever seen it. But still, kind of gives us our first look. He's clearly going to be using the hook. Everybody wanted to know if in the movie he's going to use the hook, and clearly he is. So, and again, listen, I just want to go back to this part of the video where it's like, this is an impressive looking set. I mean, this is a huge thing. So if this is some kind of a battle arena or something that we're first going to find him in, listen, I'll tell you this. Ever since they first announced that finally Jason Momoa was going to be Lobo, and actually long even before they announced it, back when Jason Momoa just kind of, hinted that he was very happy he was going to continue in the DCU, we all guessed, you guys guessed, we guessed it was probably going to be Lobo. I've loved the idea of seeing him in action. It's kind of cool seeing even just a little bit, Rob, because to me, while this is clearly not a great sharp look at him,
No.
it is my favorite word, tangibilization. It is the tangibilization. This is so real. He's actually there on set shooting. I like the fact that we're going to be seeing his hook. I like the fact that it's probably going to be kind of violent. I don't suspect Supergirl will be R-rated, but if you look at the source material that this is going to be based on, you could make this R-rated.
Kind of should be, maybe.
Maybe they should. And James Gunn's not adverse to doing R-rated stuff. So who knows? But I kind of listen. It's a simple little look, but I'm liking what we're seeing. Rob, what did you think?
Dude, it's Lobo. I mean, I remember I was reading, I believe, if memory serves, that Lobo was introduced in the pages of Omega Men.
Yes.
And Omega Men was an offshoot of Teen Titans. And I was a big, huge fanatical. And Lobo showed up like issue 5 or 6 or something. I've always liked Lobo. And then, of course, when Simon Bisley was doing Lobo art, making him I can't wait to see this. I just love the fact that because of James Gunn, we're getting Lobo on screen. And that, whatever that video image is from 1,000 miles away, from a satellite.
I'm pretty sure that is completed film footage. That
100%.
is totally finished footage.
Literally better
it looks
footage
like
of
Lobo,
Supergirl's
even
movies.
from the back with the leather and the thing and the white arms. It looks, come on.
Chris, what did you think about it?
Oh, I love it. But also anything that has to do with him being Lobo, I'm here for. He's made to play this.
Yeah.
And yeah, first issue back in 1983 is when this came out. So relatively new character that he just seems like when he came onto this earth, so did Lobo. And we made those two come together. And I love that.
There you go.
But yeah, I think the
That's
set
funny.
looks really cool too. I think that like what they're shooting on looks really rad. It's not just your basic volume like green screen. I'm glad they have something to actually play with. It kind of makes me think of when you watch performance capture when they're
Yeah.
working on video games and everything, where you have that nice kind of stage to play with.
Yeah.
And I love that he's going to be able to actually take up space in that. That's always my big concern with just a true volume green screen
Right.
shoot, is that you lack then the, not the ability, but the kind of desire to really push and really use that space and fill it up. This nice big set that he gets to play with, he gets to be this big bombastic character. And I think that's promising too.
That's why,
Yeah,
like Obi-Wan, it felt like a laser tag match whenever the storm. They're just
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, just shoot from here.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing should be pointed out is that this is not brand new footage. It's freshly released.
Yeah.
But remember, we talked on the show like a week or two ago that Jason Momoa announced he was wrapped shooting. So whenever this was filmed, it was clearly probably a few weeks or maybe even a month or two ago. But still, kind of like what we're seeing, even if it is just a blurry smudge. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Come and participate in America's favorite game. When is Kathleen Kennedy leaving bingo?
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Bam. So, you guys remember, first of all, let's back this up a little bit. A few months ago, Deadline, so not some Gus's gas station movie reviews.fart site, but actually Deadline reported that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be departing and stepping down as the head of Lucasfilm by the end of 2025. Now, yesterday, we read you guys a report coming out of Star Wars Newsnet that was quoting Jeff Snyder, that other people then confirmed, by the way, that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be stepping down in August. Sometime in August is when she was going to be stepping down. And we pulled that from Star Wars Newsnet. Well, Star Wars Newsnet is now walking that back, as they've updated and putting in their site here, Kathleen Kennedy not stepping down in August. Now, they wrote the following. Since the posting of this article, in which they said she was stepping down in August, it was brought to our attention that the new details provided below about Kathleen Kennedy's exit are incorrect. She will not be stepping down in August, as previously reported. So she said, we apologize for any disturbance this may have caused. We keep the original story posted as it was, which includes a quote given by Kennedy during Star Wars Celebration. Anyway, so now they're saying that the report that she was stepping down in August was not true. Now, number one, I need to give Star Wars Newsnet their flowers. Like, hey, they saw a report that Jeff put out and that a couple of others said they could confirm. And so Star Wars Newsnet wrote a story on it. They had then gotten more information that I don't know. They did not reveal who they heard that from, but they got more information suggesting that story wasn't true. So they got out and said, hey, this thing we talked about yesterday wasn't true, which is what we're trying to do here today as well, because we were basing our report on what was in Star Wars Newsnet, which they got from other sources as well. Now, it should be pointed out here that nobody is saying she's not stepping down, right? They're just very quick to very specifically point out she is not stepping down in August. Because even when we talked about this yesterday, we were kind of like, that seems a little early. I mean, if you wanted to step down this early, Chris, I think you brought up, if you're going to step down this early, why not do it right around Andor 2, since that's going to apparently be a big win for them. So again, Deadline is still sticking with their thing that she's stepping down by the end of the year. Apparently, though, it's not going to be in August. Again, I think the whole thing that's determining the timing of when she steps down is going to be aligned with the timing of whoever they've already chosen to be her replacement, that person's availability. Now, again, let me emphasize this. I have not been given information that Disney has hired the new president of Lucasfilm. This is just me speculating, okay? But I believe...
It's going to be a headline tomorrow. John confirmed.
Yeah, John Campea confirms. They've already, yeah. No, but I completely believe, I think for rational reasons, that they have selected her replacement. And that person is currently in a position somewhere. And the whole timing of her stepping down will now be will now coincide with when that person becomes available from their current responsibilities to now come over and take over Lucasfilm. Whether that'll be in August or September or in October or November or December, whenever it is, I do believe deadlines report that'll be by the end of the year, but apparently it will not be by August.
So what you're saying is the shroud of the dark side is yet to fall.
It is yet to fall. Somehow, Kathleen Kennedy is still the president of Lucasfilm. Chris, you brought up a really good point yesterday about wouldn't you want to time it to go off on something significant?
Yeah, something we
there's
had
no
talked
movie
about.
that's about to come out or whatever. Anyway, you hear about this. Are you surprised it's not going to be August? Does it make sense that it's not going to be August? How do you see it?
I mean, at this point, I'm not surprised. I do want to know, is everyone's neck okay, though, from all the whiplash?
Yeah.
Are you good? Is everyone all right? Yeah, she just keeps, yes, I am. No, I'm not. Maybe I'll step down. Maybe I won't. I'm not retiring. I'm going to produce, but maybe I'm
Yeah,
in a
she's
different
been very
role.
clear that
Yeah,
she's not actually retiring.
exactly. But it just feels a little odd to keep having these little, well, I'm going to step down, but maybe, but not. I don't know when. I don't know when we're doing it.
Well-
it feels like there's just all this weird backtracking for no reason.
I was telling John yesterday, sort of jokingly, it's sort of like there's creative differences on when she's leaving.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what it
Yeah.
feels like.
In Kathleen Kennedy's defense, she's not the one coming out saying, I'm leaving in August.
Nope.
No, I'm not. These are all just reports
Yeah.
going around. Yeah.
It's just there keeps being a lot of them, and you have to kind of wonder, is the call coming from inside the house? Are these other people who are trying to set
Hello,
up the
Sydney.
Yeah, we need to get you out of here.
Well, I mean, look, this is something that I think, in a lot of movie controversies or whatever, you're going to get people argue with things. Here's the thing about the Kathleen Kennedy situation, though. You've got your very dark, cancerous, toxic, small segment of the Star Wars fandom that want her out for their own particular agenda reasons. But you also have very positive Star Wars fans who are like myself, who for 6 years have been saying, Kathleen Kennedy's great, but she's not a great president of Lucasfilm. And I think Disney understands this. They know that even the pro Star Wars people have been saying, Kathleen's got to go. She's got to go. I mean, let her go and let her continue to just be a straight up producer. She's one of the best who have ever done it. That's great, but she's got to go. And so, listen, I'm still agog and aghast, to quote Les Mis, that she's still there. It's 2025 and she's still there. She has got pictures of somebody fucking a donkey, because that is the only explanation for her still being there. She's got
The only
the
why
only,
is that always the only
that's
one?
the only thing, because she's got leverage on somebody, man. But anyway, Rob, you heard about this. Are you surprised that the August thing does not turn out to be true? Are you still expecting her to step down by the end of the year? How are you seeing this?
I'm not surprised. I mean, like you said, she's not come out and made this definitive statement. Star Wars fans, it seems like it's wishful thinking. They're all looking for something. I mean, if you really think about it, look at Star Wars Celebration. You got Andor. They finally dated a Star Wars movie. They said, here's when Starfighter is actually coming out.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
They've got Mandalorian and Grogu, which is in production, which these things are probably going to work. I would imagine that when she does step away, I'll bet you that the Rey movie is the project. She's going to be the Amy Pascal, the way Amy Pascal left Sony and became a producer on the Spider-Man films. I could see her Rey movie as her pet project, and that'll be her Star Wars swan song, which is why we haven't heard anything about it. We'll probably, maybe that's not true. I'm just completely speculating. I've heard nothing. I know nothing. But it was odd that we knew we've heard, they announced that at Star Wars Celebration, and there's been nothing spoken about it at all. And maybe that has something to do with her leaving. Or maybe it's like every other project she's been involved with that's never going to happen. You never know.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't believe Star Wars Starfighter is ever going to happen, but I would love to see it. Let me reiterate for the 50th time. This Rey movie idea is an absolute mistake.
I agree.
And I say this as a Daisy Ridley fan and as somebody who likes the Rey character when they use her properly, all that kind of stuff. But it would be it's a mistake to do a Rey movie.
Well, it was so weird seeing Sean Levy, like I said before when we were talking about this on the show, talking about, well, this takes place after the Battle of Exegol. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the name of the planet where it ended. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
there you go.
because I've, like I said, John, I own that movie, but I've never gonna ever put that disc ever. I will never watch that movie again. But it was just like, and I was thinking, if they're gonna make that movie and it's set after the Battle of Exegol, maybe they will make this Rey film. I was just thinking, why not dovetail into the other? But look, I think you're right. But if look, I do think they could write a great film about somebody having to reestablish a new Jedi Order, and they have the character of Rey. And if it's, I think Daisy Ridley's a good actress, and if it was a great script and a good director, maybe they could make.
You know what could work? Here's what theoretically could work. I want to know if you guys agree with this or not. You could have a movie like that and have Rey as a smaller supporting Obi-Wan kind of character in it, but the focus of the story, the main stars of the film, are brand new characters. I think you can do that.
Sure.
I think Rey can be a part of something. The character is just such a lightning rod and a representation of the division in the Star Wars fan base that I just don't see the wisdom in making a movie based on her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The national nightmare continues as Kathleen Kennedy will apparently be the president of Lucasfilm past August. I don't worry too much. I still think the deadline is correct and she'll be gone by the end of the year. But I mean, are you surprised by that? Are you not? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this for a minute, shall we? They showed us at CinemaCon this year a really nice, big, juicy, I don't even know if you'd call it a trailer. I mean, it was this big, juicy thing on Predator Badlands, and part of it was a trailer. And we talked about it a little bit during our coverage of CinemaCon when we were in Vegas. But today, they have actually dropped the trailer. The Predator Badlands trailer reveals a Predator teaming up with a human. I don't know that she's human.
Right.
I don't think Elle Fanning is human. I think Screen Rant's got that wrong. Anyway, an epic sci-fi monster hunt. Okay, so many of you guys have seen this now. The first trailer for Predator Badlands has come out. And like, Jonathan, you said something pretty interesting, like what you assumed about the movie because of the title.
I thought it was taking place in like the Badlands in the United States, and this would be like, these were going to be like pioneers heading westward or something like that.
Kind of like same thing as Prey, just a little further ahead, right?
Yeah.
But no, this is like a totally different planet, totally different world, and we're actually getting a Predator as a protagonist. Now, you could argue we might have had that in Predator versus Alien when the Predator teams up with the girl. That was completely stupid. But this, I love this. Like a young Predator proving themselves. That's a great image. Look at that. That's fantastic. I really like that. And then you got the Elle Fanning character in there to kind of root it a little bit.
She's like a Wog from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Android.
I think she's an android of some kind. So I think this is far future kind of stuff, whatever. Or maybe she's just a human's got psych abilities or something like that. And she pulls an Undertaker. Her eyes go white before she tombstones somebody. I don't know. But so I don't think she's like a straight up human. But listen, I'll tell you what, I thought this looks great because it gives a couple of great elements that you can have in these survival action films where sometimes it's man versus man. Sometimes one of my favorite those when it's man versus nature.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite ones. And this looks like it's going to be a mix of the two. It's going to be him against this world. And apparently he's got some other predators of his own species that don't like him very much.
It seems like, I mean, I might be way off, but it seems like it's a predator proving ground.
Yeah.
It's part of the story, not the whole story, but
yeah, could be that as well. Anyway, Rob, we saw it. We saw the trailer when we were at CinemaCon, but it's out again now. We had a chance to revisit it. What do you think about the trailer?
Look, I think it looks great. Prey was it was a big surprise. And I think Steve Asbell, the president of 20th Century Studios, I call him the quiet king of franchises. He knows what's up. They had a good, there's this coupled with the animated Predator film that we're getting.
Killer of Killers.
Killer of Killers. I mean, these are both directed by what's his face? Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Who directed Prey?
I always mispronounce
Trachtenberg.
Trachtenberg.
Yeah, Dan Trachtenberg. Because I'm thinking Michelle. Oh, poor Michelle. But this looks great. It looks, it's somebody who clearly loves the franchise, giving us something new take on it. new look. I love the fact that they can make predators look different, yet it's recognizably the predator.
And they should look different. I mean, like an entire planet are clones. I mean, you know.
Yeah, totally. And I just love everything they're doing with this. I think it's a lot of fun. But every time I see a trailer or anything for a Predator movie, having seen Predator, Alien vs. Predator 2 Requiem, I know there's Predator cities, there's workaday Predators. I would like to see a Predator sitcom. I would like to see a Predator drama. I want to see a Predator story about a multi-generational family, like perhaps in the past having a homestead like Tombstone or Yellowstone, the Yellowstone version. Why is it Predators are always hunting? Can't they do anything else?
You know, me and Ann are buddies
Accountants.
with the director of Predator Requiem and his wife.
I did not know.
Yeah, we're actually good buddies with them.
That opening scene, it's like that. Remember the Looney Tunes when the rooster and they meet and they're like they go to work every morning and then they fight all day long and they're like good night. I always kind of feel like that was that Predator, that scene when the ding ding ding, there's a problem on Earth and the Predator's like, okay, and he's got to leave his job and go solve that problem. I think that the Predator franchise has an untapped potential if they're not hunting. I want to see Predators like, what does a Predator plumber do?
You want to see like the Real Housewives?
Well,
Yeah, I want to do that because we know they live in cities and they do it. We just see them when they're hunting. I feel that really is a vast denigration of what the Predators have to offer.
Anyway, Chris, you were not at CinemaCon, so this is your first time seeing this trailer. What was your first impressions of the trailer?
I mean, it looks pretty rad. I have full disclosure. I don't know enough about Predator to really have a hard opinion on this, aside from, wow, that looks cool. This looks really dope. I mostly just know about how you have a really cool handshake from Predator. That's it. That's kind of where my knowledge starts and ends. But it looks really, really interesting. And I do think Android, because of that eye flicker, right?
Yeah.
That was a really cool little moment there. But again, maybe there's other lore in this world that explains more of who else going to be. But it looks really interesting. And I love that tagline of World of Hurt. So we know this is going to be really brutal and fun.
I mean, you could do a Fast the Furious movie where there's Predator racers. Like you could make an F1 movie set in the Predator world.
You could have the Predators explain what happened with the vampires and other supernatural beings after the snap.
Oh my God, we're on to something. By the way, Justin in the live chat had the best idea. The Office, but with Predators. So this Predator is actually a young office worker with a crush on his Predator secretary. And he gets, in order to court her, he first has to go to this battle world.
He's great at the gym fourth wall breaks.
Yeah.
But I mean,
when the T-Rex shows up, the Predator just turns to the camera and goes,
remember when Henson years ago did the dinosaurs show?
yes.
I loved that show so much.
Right?
One of the darkest endings of any
Yeah.
TV show
well,
ever.
we're going extinct.
Yeah.
But you could do that with Predators.
Oh, no, that's actually really rad. Ooh, okay.
But I don't think anybody actually wants to see
Yeah.
that.
Just me.
Just Chris.
Why do we have to make Predators so one-dimensional?
Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this new trailer? It's up and online now. It's not just a CinemaCon exclusive. What did you think about it? You looking forward to it? I'll tell you what, this is a franchise I admittedly thought was dead and buried. And then Prey came along and kind of resurrected the whole thing. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Influencer Predator.
Durrell in the live chat saying 50 Shades of Predator. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd watch the hell out of that.
Oh, no.
Mommy,
All
where do
right.
Predators come from?
No.
Especially if a human was involved.
All right, guys.
Okay.
We're going to deviate this conversation right now.
Pretty sure that thing's
Step
hard.
down, guys. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, every couple of days we like to play a little game of either what's more likely or true or false. So today we're going to play a little round of true or false. I jumped onto our community and post tab a little bit earlier this morning to ask our viewers, hey, do you have a true or false scenario for us? We had about 6 of them picked out, I think, Jonathan.
Yep.
So let's get to it. Jonathan, what do we got?
Okay. First off, Tax says, true or false, Rob? Super Mario Brothers 2 will do extremely well, but won't surpass the 23 films box office.
I think that's false. I think that if they made I think they're only going to improve. I mean, the Super Mario Brothers movie I thought was pretty entertaining, but it wasn't like the greatest movie in the world. And I think that it could be like a Toy Story 2 or something like that. And I think that it could be make even more money if it's a better movie.
I'm going to say false that it won't make as much money because to your example of Toy Story reset the bar. Like Toy Story became iconic immediately.
Yeah.
To your point, I think Mario Brothers movie was fun,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a great movie. And let's say it made like $1.3 billion. So I don't see a sequel doing that. So I agree that it will do well. Actually, well, how was the question phrased again?
Like that.
Will do extremely well, but won't surpass. Oh, so I'll say true. Yeah, you're right. It will do very well, but it will not surpass the original.
Yeah.
I'm not even 100% sure it'll be a $1 billion film, but it'll make a ton of money. But I just don't see it making the same amount as the first one. Chris?
False. It's going to make more money if they have a better story.
Wow.
Just a slightly better story. You still have so many other Mario characters that you can tap into and everything
Yeah.
as well. And so I feel like, again, at least the original one that we all saw, people had their kids going back to see it in theaters over and over again. That little sad blue star. Oh my gosh, I loved that. I kept going back to theaters just so I could hear that weird little star talk
The
more. And be
existential
like,
dilemma star.
I loved it. I loved
loved
it so
it too.
much. So as long as that script really delivers, I think you'll be able to at least meet it or potentially exceed it.
All right. What's next?
Black Flash says, true or false, Chris, Guy Gardner is murdered in Lanterns.
Guy Gardner is murdered in Lanterns? I don't think he's murdered in it.
So
False. I have no reason to say why. I'm just like, I don't know. Why would we do that?
I'm going to say true.
Maybe. Okay.
I think it's true. I don't think Nathan Fillion is going to be around in the DCU for a long time. And we already know that Lanterns is going to be kind of a buddy cop thing, trying to solve a killer, trying to solve a murder. And who else would they be investigating if not the murder of one of their fellow Green Lanterns? And if we're already introduced to one of those Green Lanterns, say in a Superman movie, why not tie that in? So I have no insider information about this, but I, as a fan, I'm going to say it is true. I think they're going to be trying to solve the murder of Guy Gardner.
But then you just miss out on the excellent opportunity of when Guy and Lobo team up and hang out with each other.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I just don't see Nathan Fillion doing multiple films.
That's
But
fair,
do you
but...
kill off a main character in a series that not everyone watching DC would watch?
Coming off of a movie.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Rob?
Rob, what say you?
True or false?
Okay, here's the thing. The thing about Guy Gardner is there's a lot of people that wouldn't care if he was murdered.
Oh,
I mean,
That's true.
I mean, and I love Guy Gardner, but Guy Gardner is inherently funny.
Oh, he's great.
He's a
hilarious.
funny character, and the pictures that we've seen of what Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler, that one of them walking down the street or in the mountain road or whatever the
Right.
hell they are, it seemed to have a little bit more gravitas, because if you're looking for the murderer of Guy Gardner, I think that's got to have an inherently kind of a comedic bent.
So
I would
murder
think
that
it was more
hair.
like Shane Black's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang kind of a thing. So
Great movie.
I don't think it's Guy Gardner. I think false.
All right. What's next?
we got LS Kimchi says, John, true or false, the DCU's Batman's actor will be revealed in the post-credit scene of Superman.
Unbelievably false. No chance. First of all, I don't think it's a totally wild idea to say we get introduced to Batman in the post-credit scene, but there's simply no way, in the way the industry runs and the way that, everybody walks around with a global audio video communications device that instantly connects to the internet. There's no way they could cast the new Batman, have him show up on set, shoot a scene in a movie,
Right.
have that sitting in the can, go through editing and color correction processes, and it not become known. So plus, I don't even think we're 100% set on who's going to be the director of that new Batman film. I have my doubts that the director on board right now is going to still be there. So I'm going to say completely false. Chris?
Yeah, I feel like you would make your Batman announcement just in the same way that Superman. We had some fanfare around that. We had a big reveal of who was going to be our Kal-El. I feel like you're going to do the same for Batman, for Wonder Woman, for those kinds of roles
Yeah,
that are
100%.
our pinnacle team members of the league. I think you make an announcement.
Rob?
Yeah, I think it diminishes both. It diminishes the Superman movie by introducing Batman, and it also diminishes Batman by introducing him in a post-credit scene in the Superman movie. I think, if anything, if there's a post-credit scene, and we don't know that they're going to do that yet, if they're going to lead into Supergirl, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be the obvious. That would be the obvious
Because
thing.
that is the next movie coming.
Yeah, and I think they're building that universe brick by brick. So no, I don't think there's any chance. Like you said, no way are they going to have anything to do with Batman with this new Superman movie.
I mean, I can believe there could be a reference to Batman.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But I don't think
but
we're not going to meet the new actor playing him.
no.
All right, what's next?
We got Clayton says, Rob, true or false, Jurassic World Rebirth will be the lowest grossing film in the franchise.
False. I think that the franchise is going to be re-energized by this movie. I think I'm already more interested in it than the other two. I think leaning into the horror elements. Like I said, man, there's nothing that attracts kids to dinosaur movies more than them eating and killing people. And it looks like a lot of people die in this movie, and I'm excited and there for it.
To quote Vince McMahon's old entry song, "No chance in hell." Guys, Jurassic World 3 made under $370 million. You think Jurassic World, coming off a $1 billion film, that the new Jurassic World with Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson, you think that's going to make less than $370 million? No chance in hell that it will be the lowest. Now, we can have a discussion about whether or not it'll be a $1 billion film, but that's the discussion. Will the new Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movie be a $1 billion film? It is certainly not going to be the least, make the least out of the franchise. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's got a lot of star power in it. We have a really fun, kind of violent take on some of the usual tropes that we have. People love seeing people get eaten by dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Rob talks about it all the time. I think this will do better than that last one.
Apes on horseback with guns, ninjas, and getting eaten by dinosaurs. It's a sure
Yeah,
thing.
again, I think it has a chance to be a $1 billion film. Like, so again, if you think that it'll make less than Jurassic Park 3 at $368 million is what it made. Okay.
Is that domestic or global?
That's worldwide. Domestically,
Wow.
Jurassic Park 3 made 181 and made 187 internationally for 168 total. So, yeah, there you go. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Aryan says, Chris, true or false, Thunderbolts will have an opening of 100 million or more based, 100 million or more based on the overwhelming positive word of mouth.
Ooh.
It's the more that gets a little...
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Sure, let's be optimistic. This movie has great reviews already. People seem to have enjoyed it. We're hearing good things. It should hopefully be a vote of confidence in the Marvel Universe. Why not?
Yeah, I'm going to go dead false.
Fair.
And listen, I would love it, and I love Chris's optimism. I would love it if it did. Because again, we're going to talk about in just a little bit. I mean, but the responses, not just from critics, but they did fan screenings. And the fans' responses have been insane. We'll get to that in a bit. Is that word of mouth enough with 1 week to go to take a movie that, again, is all B and C list level characters? And too many people still try to come back, but John, the Guardians of the Galaxy. But the Guardians of the Galaxy had never been seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before. We have seen all these characters in secondary, supporting, or even third level or fourth level important and not important characters. Can this movie do great at the box office? Yes. But is it going to open to $100 million? God, I hope so, but I really don't think it will. So I'm going to say false. Rob, what about you?
Look, I'm going to go with Chris just to be optimistic too, because I'm excited.
I love
about
the optimism.
I want to have an MCU movie open to $100 million again. I want people to be excited. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine notwithstanding. This is a real in-universe movie. I hope it leads somewhere good. I like the fact that the Sentry's in it. I want it to be exciting and new. Come aboard. But I don't know. I'm going to go, yeah. What is it? True? True. It will.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I'm still stuck on that Love Boat reference you just made.
At least you caught it.
Yep.
There you go.
All right. What's next?
Zion Miguel says, John, true or false, sinners will get nominated for Oscar's Best Picture.
You know, in one way, you're tempted to say it's way too early, and so anything is possible. But in a world now where the Oscars nominate 10 films for Best Picture, I cannot fathom there being 10 other movies coming out this year that are better than Sinners. I could see 3 movies coming out that are better than Sinners, 4, 5, maybe 6. But look, I've said this about other things before, but I'll say it again. If we have 10 movies come out between now and the end of the year, because so far Sinners is the best film of the year, if we have 10 movies come out between now and the end of the year that are all better than Sinners and knock Sinners out of the Best Picture running, I will declare this the greatest year in cinema history.
I declare bankruptcy.
if Sinners ends up being the 11th Best Picture of the year, again, I'm not going to say it's going to end up as the best, but if it ends up as like the 11th best, we got 10 that are better than this, it's the best movie. So I will say true, Sinners will get a Best Picture nomination. Chris?
True, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Some other real bangers are going to have to come out, or it's going to be people just not voting for what is well deserved.
I don't think it'll win, but nominated.
Nominated
100%.
at the very least, yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying it'll win, but nominated?
For sure.
Absolutely. By the way, I guarantee you right now, the producers of the Oscars are already planning their music number.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, that soundtrack.
Sure.
Conan
the way they
O'Brien has
did-
already produced, working on his comedy version.
The way at the last Oscars that they did the Wicked kind of thing, where they had a segment of the show just for the Wicked music, I think they're already planning that for Sinners. Anyway, Rob, true or false, the Sinners gets a Best Picture nomination?
True, it will. And I think they're going to figure out a way to get Michael B. Jordan to come out as Smoke and Stack and present.
That would be a neat trick.
I know, right?
That would be a
Little
really
Michael B. Jordan hologram.
Yeah, I think that they can make it happen.
You could do it like the audience wouldn't see it, but you'd see it on the screen.
No. You know what you do? You have Michael B. Jordan and Michael Jordan come out
Boom.
in the game of things. Said it's us, Michael Jordan.
And from his work in Space Jam, equal caliber actor.
That's
There
right.
you go.
And by the way, little known fact that Michael Jordan's middle name starts with A, so it'll be Michael A. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan.
That's great,
There
actually.
you go.
Actually, I just made that up. I have no
Well,
idea. If that's
no,
true.
Someone's
John just
gonna run with
reported
it, though.
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan's middle name
Michael
is
A. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan.
Michael Adam Jordan.
And guys, that will wrap up this little installment of our true or false game. Thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions and those scenarios for us. Keep your guys' eyes open on the channel for when we post calls for our either what's more likely or true or false scenarios. So thank you guys for sending those in. All right. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Yesterday was game day. Andor Season 2 debuted. Now, you guys know, I believe, nay, I hold, that Andor is the single greatest Star Wars thing ever produced other than the original trilogy. The original trilogy is in its own category. But other than that, nothing that anybody's ever put out Star Wars-wise is as good as Andor Season 1. That's how I feel about it. So you guys know I've been hyper excited about Season 2. Now, we're going to talk about, I'm just going to call it Chapter 1. Since instead of calling it episodes 1, 2, and 3, I'm just going to
Or
call
you
it
can call it
Season 2
BBY4.
or BBY4. That's actually a good one. We're going to talk about this. Now, I am going to let you know we are going to go a little bit into spoilers. We're not going to get into specific deep plot points, but maybe we'll reference a couple of events that happen, sort of thing. So if you have not watched Chapter 1 or BBY4 of Andor Season 2, you can probably still watch it. But if you don't want to know anything, then maybe check right here. Jonathan's just put up this spoilers warning, right? As long as this spoilers warning is up, mute your phone, tablet, laptop, computer, or television. And then once the spoiler warnings comes down, then you can turn the volume back on. Fair enough? All right, let's get into it here. So it was with great anticipation that I sat down by myself last night because Ann and our friends wanted to go watch the Laker game. But
How dare they?
even though I could have waited to watch it after I got home, I'm like, nope, I'm watching Andor right now. Bye, baby. Shut that door. Real world be gone. And I locked in. And admittedly, there is no bigger pro Andor person than me. And I got to say, Chapter 1 underwhelmed me a little bit.
Ooh.
Now, let me be specific. I really liked Episode 1. I really liked it. I loved Episode 3. But man, Episode 2, a little bit was a swing and a miss. It wasn't terrible, but it was a swing and a miss. Again, without going into deep narrative detail, you know, Andor gets sidetracked on this planet with a bunch of wannabe rebels, and by the time that whole thing ended, I realized this was all a complete waste of time. This literally had no relevance to anything. I don't know. Maybe we come across some of these characters again in year 2, 3, or 4. Maybe I'll revisit it at that point. But I really thought episode 2 was really slow. For me, it killed any momentum that episode 1 had kind of set up. And by the way, there's a little bit of a Thrawn kind of, I'm not going to say reference, but there's a Thrawn implication.
Yeah, it's one of those, if you know, you know.
Yeah, you'd have to know, but so that's there. And then again, episode 3 though, oh my God, I loved episode 3.
Yeah.
It was so, I said to Rob, I said it was so Godfather. It was so Godfather. And one of the things I said to Rob too, I said, listen, if you had told me in advance that in this Star Wars show, we're going to have a big, what is it called? EDM? Or what's the festival called?
Well, EDM, like, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but what's the big EDM festival?
There's like Electric
Electric
Daisy.
But the one that they have out by Vegas.
Well, that's
Anyway.
that one. That's the Electric Daisy.
Is that the Electric
Yeah.
Daisy thing? Okay, whatever. If you had told me there's going to be this big EDM dance sequence, I would have said, oh my God, this is going to be shit.
And that piece of music was dope.
It's so good.
But I would have
It's
said
so
in
good.
advance
Love
that
Bob.
this is going to be awful. It was awesome.
Yeah,
and
EDC
might have
though.
been
I
the
just
best.
wanted to know where my ecstasy was as I wrote it. Watch
And listen, it might have been the best character moment with no dialogue. It might have been the best character moment Mon Mothma's ever had. As she's kind of dancing, she's trying to dance the guilt out of her system, right? And her performance in that,
Oh,
unbelievable.
I want somebody to do a compilation every time she's smiling and talking to somebody, and then she turns her head and frowns.
And the face changes.
It's so good. It's so good.
I thought that thing, the final wrapping up on the wheat planet, that wrapped up well, because the whole wheat planet thing in episode 2 was slow to me. And again, I'm gonna throw this out there. I did not have attempted sexual assault on my Star Wars bingo card,
Yeah.
and they went there, and it was powerful. And look, overall, I have to admit, I was a little underwhelmed overall compared to where my hopes were for the show. Now, I get it. All the people I talked to who have seen the entire series already has warned me in advance that the first chapter is a bit of a building up. Then it really kind of takes off. So I understood that, but still my expectations were better. I was kind of hoping that all 3 episodes would be as good as episode 3, and they weren't. Again, episode 1 was good. Episode 2 let me down. Episode 3, dynamite. So overall, I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to the next thing. But I, as somebody who was looking forward to it more than anybody else on this planet, was a little bit underwhelmed simply because of episode 2. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see Andor, Chapter 1, BBY4.
Yes.
For anybody who doesn't know, before the Battle of Yavin. So, Chris, what was your take on the Chapter 1 of this?
Oh man, I'm finally really digging Cassian Andor. Look at him having agency. Look at him leading. Look at him making choices and not only being entirely reactive. Ooh, who'd have thought? Now, similar issue to you though, episode 2 really stalled all of that. I was so frustrated watching that. I was so annoyed with everybody on
Yeah.
that one planet.
They needed
Oh,
like,
it was-
a weird
it was-
reason to make him late.
Yeah.
It's like,
It
oh.
was obnoxious, which I understood is what they were going for, of this communication issue and everything, of if we all could just talk, maybe. But I found that all very, very frustrating. And then once we got on to episode 3, I was absolutely back to loving all of this. I enjoyed seeing Cyril and Deidre. And that really great moment with Mom.
Can I say, Cyril's mom has the best voice in television.
Oh, she's incredible.
I could listen to her just talk all day. I love her voice.
Well, and everything they did in that too. And again, not to get into major spoilers here, but just even like color theory in those moments
Yeah.
of having them in the black and her in the orange and in their white apartment and everything. The way the everyone was eating was so intentional. It honestly reminded me of the Feast of Seven Fishes episode of the bear. The way they were able to create tension between the 3 of them was so great and pithy and awesome. the stuff with Bix and everything too.
Oh, Bix was so good.
She's such an incredible actress, and I'm so happy that she has this role, because I feel like a lot of times we've seen her just being someone's girlfriend or some kind of love interest catalyst for things. I love, again, seeing somebody like her who has so much agency, and all the stuff in there too in episode 3 really did solidify this as grown-up Star Wars. These are the things, the atrocities that would happen in times of war. And it is really powerful that a Star Wars show is actually following how bloody and brutal and awful a rebellion could be for people. And it's just really powerful television. I'm so impressed with what they've done already.
And can I just say that one of those last shots as the Chancellor Valorum lookalike wannabe dude, Mon Mothma's turns out dick of a friend, as he's going to get in his
It was
car.
great when it zips by, and you see the girl, the pilot, and it's just.
I like that. That to me was all that had all the Godfather vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Take the cannoli.
it was so and yeah, and then cutting then to Mothma trying to dance her guilt out,
Yeah.
and
Well, Tay's such a turd. Oh my gosh.
But-
But that was such a good line that we had then later of, I've known him since I was a child.
Yeah.
That's our curse to bear.
I love that actor though. Going back to Coupling, which was a BBC like
Yep.
sitcom.
I loved coupling.
Yeah.
and again Luthen's the MVP of the show, like from season 1 to this. I mean, he's still so great. Anyway, Rob, you checked it out. What did you think about chapter 1?
Well, I would echo all of your sentiments, but I have to say that scene in the very beginning when Cassian is talking to the woman
the
that's
technical girl, yeah.
yeah, talking to the girl who's facilitated his ability to steal the ship, and what he says to her,
Powerful.
you know, and I'm like, wow, if this is how they're opening it up, and the fact, you know, everyone talked about how Cassian was kind of the weakest character in the first season. They establish him right then and there in that conversation when he's looking at her, and I'm like you said, Chris, I'm like, this is Cassian Andor's show. This is what I wanted to see. And
It was a
when
Luthen
that girl,
type of in like speech a bit.
yeah, and that performance when a tear falls down, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they ain't playing around. And then that scene was kind of funny, but it was also like hardcore when the guy's building the cannon, you know, and I loved it. I mean, and then the whole escape, and the walls are, it was like a Speed Racer episode, and when they're inside the volcano and the TIE fighters and everything's falling. I love the first episode. I thought it was great. I love what they were doing. The dread of the Imperials are coming to do an audit, you know, and getting into the whole immigration thing. Like, well, you don't have your papers, and some of you are illegal. It was not heavy-handed. It seemed very naturalistic. I love the impending sense of dread, and the guy they cast as the lead Imperial officer.
Oh, was such a good dick.
One of the things I always objected to about Return of the Jedi was I did not like the Imperial officers in the Tidarium shuttle at the beginning. I just didn't like them. They've cast the Imperial officers in this show extraordinarily well. I love them all. And they've picked, I mean, that guy was such a dick when he showed up. I'm like, I cannot wait for this to, like, I knew something bad was gonna happen, but he was gonna, but like you said, I get what they were doing in the second episode. It just was kind of lame.
Yeah.
You know, like when they started fighting amongst themselves, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't buy into this.
No.
And
Like
then
suddenly he's just gonna blast and you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
yeah, they're all starving in the jungle. Like there wasn't, like, why don't they go shoot animals or something? And there's got to be.
There was the only one thing I took from it was that it's like this shows you that there are aspects of this early rebellion that are so ragtag and amateurish
Yes.
that they
100%.
would no way in no way could they defeat the Empire. And they
Well,
had
and
to,
when you look at Rebels,
I agree with you.
Part of the thing about the Rebels series, they talked about how there's all these seeds of rebellion, but it's part of the storyline in Rebels was like trying to bring it all into one big organized thing.
Yeah.
And so this felt very consistent with that. I just didn't like the way they
Yeah, I agree with you. And I understand why it had to be there. They kind of had to address it and move on, which was fine. I just thought it was kind of.
you know what it would have been cool is this is kind of going back to Band of Brothers, but there was the episode where they're in Carentan and the character Bull, he gets left behind because he's wounded, and the Nazis are in that village, and he has to spend all night kind of hiding and slowly creeping out of the village and getting away, and then finally at the end he gets away and he gets back to the people looking for him.
Yeah.
I was hoping that it would have been like some Imperials were in the area. He had to, like, you know, weasel his way out to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
But I have to say, everything with Mon Mothma was aces.
Oh,
the whole
total
thing in her
gold.
estate with the wedding, all of that. And like you said, that last shot was the dance, that goes to black. And I'm like, this was epic. First of all, the production design and the costuming and all the different
And this guy.
and yeah, I haven't even talked about Krennic. But having Krennic come back and when he gathers all
Don't give too many details.
I won't say, but
We know he's in it because we've obviously know Kathleen,
it was
but-
just, to me, it was like peak Star Wars, like you said, Godfather. I love the design work on all of that stuff. It was amazing, and she's amazing, and I love that.
Yeah. This again, all the pieces are there for this to be the greatest thing ever. I wish overall with chapter 1 it could have had a strong, again, if they had just done something better with episode 2.
Yeah.
That's all. But 3, fantastic. Gives me a lot of hope for what's coming up.
Yeah,
Everybody says it just builds up from here.
But it all led somewhere.
Yeah.
And the one thing is the intercutting of all the different locations and stuff made it so it wasn't interminable. They would cut away and
Right.
you'd be like,
And remember, when episode 4 now starts, we jump ahead 1 year.
yeah, BBY.
Remember, at the end of each 3 episodes, when we go into the next 3 episodes, it's a jump of 1 year.
Yeah.
So that was all wrapped up, and then we jump forward, which I think is going to be a really interesting way for them to do this. So we'll see how it works out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the BBY 4, Chapter 1 of Andor Season 2? What did you think about those first 3 episodes? I mean, overall it was good to me. Again, that second episode just took a lot of it out of it for me, but episode 3 was fantastic. Whatever you guys thought, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's now time for us to say adieu to Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett. Thanks for being here, guys. Great job as
Oh, don't
always.
we have Thunderbolts still?
yeah, are we going to talk
Oh,
about Thunderbolts?
I forgot we had another topic.
Bro,
So I was
I
like,
almost skipped the lead.
it's
I
on-
almost
it
skipped
is the thumbnail
lead.
of the
They're
show,
behind
after
you on the
all.
screen. We can't.
I nearly completely jumped right out. Well, then, teaches me to have
Quick
better
to get
written
rid
out
of
notes.
us.
And before we let Chris and Rob go, let's talk about this, shall we?
That's lunch.
Of course, Thunderbolts had its premiere the other night, and last night also they had fan screenings across the country. Not a lot of them, like 16 screenings or something like that across the country, where both fans and critics had a chance to see the film and give their reactions. Now, normally when we talk about first reactions to a movie, we're talking about first reactions of critics because they got to see the advanced press screenings. But they actually did the fan screenings on the same night. And before we get into the critic stuff, let's talk about some of the fan reactions. They were insane. Now we're talking about people who are not critics, just fans that went to the fan screenings. It was fantastic. Not many of them saying it was the greatest Marvel movie of all time, but pretty much to a T, all of them. This was amazing. This was fantastic. I watched several out of the theater reactions. By the way, you've noticed ever since I started doing those a number of years ago, everybody does out of the theater reactions now. Just saying. But a lot of fans sitting in their cars, coming out of the theaters, they're like going, I love this movie, and like kind of losing their mind. They were all saying they thought it was great. Listen, I can honestly say I did not come across one fan reaction that didn't really like the film. Now, I'm sure I did not see all of them. I'm sure there must be a couple that didn't. Law of averages. But I'm just saying the ones I saw were all incredible. How did the critics that saw it feel? Well, folks over at Superhero Hype pulled together a bunch of them saying Thunderbolts' first reaction and reviews praise it as Marvel's darkest movie, which is interesting. Let's see. We'll start with Beans Got Games wrote, Thunderbolts was awesome. Tons of implications on how the MCU is moving forward. The team works well together. Plenty of emotion. Yelena is my MVP. Definitely a super fun movie. Definitely stick around for the after credits. Emily Murray wrote, Thunderbolts is easily one of the best MCU movies in a long time. Tells a genuinely emotional story. Jacob Fisher of Discussing Film added, Thunderbolts is truly fantastic. The cast has electric chemistry with each other. Florence Pugh and Lewis Pullman are the standouts. Lewis Pullman is the one playing Sentry. And the action sequences are very strong, but most of all, the film story hit me like a ton of bricks. It's bold, important, and so well written. Matt Nagilia of Best Picture noted, it's some of Marvel's darkest material to date. Florence Pugh carries much of the dramatic weight, while Lewis Pullman delivers a complex performance. Brandon Norwood of the Film Blurge said, shocked how good Thunderbolts is. This dysfunctional team has chemistry too. Big Gold Belt Media wrote, it's described it as raw, hilarious, and deeply human, gritty, emotional, and unlike anything Marvel has done before. Amon Warman of Empire Magazine called the film visually daring and emotionally resonant, highlighting the performances by Pugh, Pullman, and David Harbour. Film and Glory wrote, Thunderbolts introduces a new era for Marvel. Sebastian Stan has an absolute scene-stealing moment, yet Florence Pugh shows that she is the true lead of the new generation and team. All right, now, as I found others, they were all basically said the same thing, and here's the cue. The most negative ones I found were ones that were basically, hey, this is really good, but I was hoping for more. That it was those kind of ones. Like there were still positive reviews. Like the most negative ones I found were still positive, but were like, I was kind of hoping it would be better than it was, but it was still quite good. And blah, blah. So those are the most negative ones. A lot of them were kind of singing its praises. And again, the key thing here and the key difference between other first reactions is that we also had thousands of fans that got to see it as well. Average filmgoers gave their reactions, and apparently they were right in line with the critic ones as well. I am not expecting Thunderbolts to be the best Marvel movie, but I am expecting it to be great. And it sounds like from the reactions that we're getting from both fans and critics that it sounds like it may deliver on that. And I couldn't be more excited. Again, I've said for ages now, for over a year, that I'm actually more excited for Thunderbolts than I am for Fantastic Four. That says a lot. So I love what I'm hearing from this. Chris, you saw and read the first reactions coming out from fans and critics. What are you taking away from it the most, and are you surprised it's been this positive?
I'm not surprised it's been this positive because I love this little ragtag bunch of people, and I feel like we've also really centered, at least on a lot of the advertising for this, on Red Guardian and on Yelena, and that is who I feel like is the beating heart of this film. So many of the posters too are just them having wonderful like father-daughter moments. I'm very intrigued by this being one of Marvel's darkest films. Kind of got an inkling from that of, the little Pompeii-esque smears that Sentry is leaving behind of people in New York. But I'm really happy about this.
That's a great reference, by the way. Full points to you.
From ancient Rome.
Little Pompeii reference.
I'm very excited. And what makes me really pumped is that my friends who are not in the superhero bubble, my friends who are not diehard Marvel or DC people, are really excited about this movie. Where it's, I really like this kind of found family trope. This looks really fun. All the ads have been really cool. It looks like it's going to be action-packed. Oh, it's really intriguing. And they've seemed to be really excited about seeing this. And I haven't heard that kind of excitement from my non-comic book friends in a very long time. And I feel like that's very promising. And these kinds of reviews and reactions really give me hope that this movie delivers.
Rob, what's your big takeaway from the reactions we've been reading here?
Well, first of all, the movie has always looked appealing, but what I really like about these reactions is clearly the trailers have not told us what this movie's really about. You know that, okay, Sentry, Void, shenanigans, ragtag team. But the actual plot of this film and what is actually unfolding when they talk about how it's hard-hitting and that it has implications for the MCU moving forward, I think this movie has a lot going on, and I'm really excited for that. And I could kind of tell that from the trailers because we just keep seeing snippets of the same scenes as Marvel tends to do with their trailers. And I think Florence Pugh is one of the greatest, sexiest, most appealing screen presences we have going today. Whatever she's in, she can do no wrong. I've always liked her as Yelena, starting with Black Widow, and the idea and the fact that it's a familial relationship with David Harbour. I've liked that dynamic as well, and I love everybody that's in this movie. So hearing this is really encouraging, and I think that to know that it has something to do with the MCU, the larger MCU, which I think has been missing, and hopefully it'll lead into Fantastic Four and it'll lead into Doomsday and all that. I'm really looking forward to having my interest peaked to the MCU, because one of the things I felt about Captain America Brave New World, which I didn't hate, but I thought it was just kind of ordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It did
didn't
not
like it.
ignite my excitement for the MCU, and I love the MCU, and I want to be excited again. And this movie sounds like it's what I've wanted. That it will nourish my dark MCU heart that has been dormant for 5 years.
Yeah, it's funny to think we are now only about a week away. I think 1 week and 1 day away
Yeah.
from the movie hitting theaters. I'm actually going to be watching it in Las Vegas.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I'm going to be in Las Vegas on the my sister is coming to visit me, and we're going to her and her husband have never been to Vegas, so we're going to drive out to Vegas. So
So does that mean no show?
oh no, we'll do a show. I'll just join you guys probably remotely from Vegas. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Again, this is kind of a unique situation in the sense that the first reactions from the critics are coming out on the same time that the first reactions from fans have come out, and they all seem to be pretty unified in it. They seem to really love this film. Here's hoping, because I need something better than Captain America Brave New World. Or is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need something better than that. Hopefully this will be it. Guys, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.
All right, now you guys get out of here.
Now we go.
And now we will bid adieu to Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett. Thanks for being here, guys. Again, great job. And now let's move over to your live comments and questions here, guys. Shall we? Jonathan, what we got up
Okay,
first?
we got Mexico Valley's Jose. Hola, amigos. Indulge me, please, again, as I elaborate my tiny gripe about Abby's journey. Two things are not clear to me. One, why is she the only one madly thirsty for revenge, given her friends have probably lost people too? And two, why do they follow her that far for that long and so deep into her madness, given they were obviously reluctant from the very start, and they seem to be equally reluctant at the consummation of her crime? What's her power upon them? Thanks.
Well, I mean, when you meet characters, you're never going to get a 6-episode backstory on that. Like all they needed to do, like at the very beginning of season 1, they established that she's kind of the leader of their group. She's kind of the centerpiece of their group. And you can't expect any television show to now give you 7 episodes about how it got to that point. When we meet a group of characters, we get to know, okay, this is who they are and where they are in this. Now, yes, they all wanted revenge, but they also wanted to do it smart at the beginning. It's like, we can't just go run after them right now. So they didn't, but they always had a plan. And like, even the main guy was like, just do what we came here to do. And so I think they all felt a sense of loss. Now, I don't know if any of them lost their fathers to Joel the way Abby did, but I don't know what we should expect. We expect, like, let's now dedicate 3 or 4 episodes to finding out why she's the leader of that group. No other shows or movies do that. I mean, so I think, again, that opening scene in the graveyard, which was so important and so key, it just set up that hierarchy, if you will. And now we go. Now, as the show progresses, we're going to find out more of the backstory, but I think they showed exactly how much they're supposed to show. Like, when Darth Vader shows up at the beginning of Star Wars and he comes through that blasted out door, we don't go, well, wait a minute, how is he the leader?
Right.
Why is this guy in the black armor in charge?
And why is he so motivated?
Yeah, why does he want this girl so badly? Like, and why are these people taking orders from him? Like, you know what I mean? But they just introduce us. Here it is. This is the hierarchy. This guy's in charge, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like the Graveyard Scene did that for Abby, but that's just the way I took it. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Paul Walter Web Browser. That's a good one. I had no idea that every Academy member can vote for every category at the Oscars. Thanks for clearing that up. I always thought you could only vote for films from your branch. Not sure I think it's fair, but very interesting.
Oh, no. So the way they do it, it's a mixture of both. The individual branches create the nominees list.
Right.
So for example, the actors branch, they are the ones who go through the initial voting process and then set who the 5 nominees are. Now, once the nominees are set, then everybody in the Academy gets to vote on the nominees that the individual thing set. If it wasn't done that way, then there is no Academy Awards. You should just have, if it's only people in the actors branch get to vote on the winner of the actors category, well, then that's a different show.
Then just have SAG Awards and you're done.
Yeah, that's the SAG Awards. You would have a completely different awards show for just Yeah, so no, all members of the Academy get to vote on all the nominees, but it's the individual branches who create who the nominee list is.
Right, yeah.
And I think that is the right system for them to do, actually. All right, what's next?
Okay, Ray with a $20 tip.
Thank you, Ray Ray.
But help me out, John, if you can. How are they going to make T'Challa's son old enough without using something like a gimmick of him aging fast like Shazam or something ridiculous like that? Because he was just a kid last we saw him. I can't think otherwise.
There's a million ways they can. First of all, I think it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea for them to make T'Challa's son Brawny T'Challa. They shouldn't make Brawny the new Black Panther. This is going to be our third Black Panther in as many movies. It's a dumb idea. They shouldn't do it. But if they do it, there's many ways they could do it. Number one, the easiest way they could do is Brawny T'Challa is a Brawny from another universe.
Brawny from another mother.
Yeah, brought in. So, and in that other universe, T'Challa's son is now actually 28 or something like that. So that's one easy way to do it. Another way they can do it is they pull a Cable.
Oh,
In the lore of X-Men, young baby Nathan is taken into the future where he grows up, becomes Cable, and then comes back older than his dad is. Right?
Yeah.
They could pull some mechanism like that if they wanted to pull a little X-Men thing. So yeah, listen, it's a comic book fantasy world. They could really come up with a million different things. I think the plainest one is just, this is T'Challa's son from another universe.
Yeah.
Because in that universe, he's already older.
At best, real time, we're looking at him being maybe 13 at best.
Yeah.
So...
Anyway, third Black Panther in 3 movies. It's completely stupid. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, just to be clear, this is a 1 of 2. I'm looking forward to Thunderbolts, but the way people have talked about it, things like referring to it as the real movie makes me think this is about to be Marvel's equivalent of Andor, where a lot of fans of it basically act like they're better than you if you dare to prefer another MCU entry. Also, I don't get what's been so special about the marketing outside of A24 style spot and Red Guardian limo ad. The trailers have been basically the same stuff with different music.
No, not really. I mean, there's been a lot of similar footage, but a lot of them have had very different tones to them, which is why the marketing has been so great. Listen, in any world, a movie with all like C-list characters should not be opening to anything more than $20 million, even if it's in the MCU. The very fact that this thing will, and again, I don't think it'll be $100 million, but I mean, the very fact that this thing is going to be opening to 50, 60, $70 million is a huge testimony to how good the marketing has been. But let's be clear about something. You act like you're better than somebody else if they don't like something as much as you do. Every fan does. It's a terrible trait we have. And hopefully we all catch ourselves doing it when we do it. But like one of the worst things about movie fandom is that you think your opinion is more valid. The very fact that you wrote what you wrote is kind of an indication that you think your opinion on it is more valid than the other people's. And they do the same thing. It's a terrible trait that all of us are guilty of, and all of us have to get over, and all of us have to break. So the thing is, listen, it's still all art, which means it's going to hit you in a different way than maybe hit somebody else. You apparently don't think Andors are that great. To me, it's clearly the best thing Star Wars has ever done since the original trilogy. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means it hit you in a different way than it hit me. And that's fine. That's a great thing about the art. And so, yeah, if it's not hitting you a certain way, then it's not hitting you a certain way, and that's fine. But don't go looking for answers. But why does everybody like it more than me? Because it hit them better than it hit you. So that's really the ultimate answer. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, why is no one whining about homework, quote unquote, with Thunderbolts? Yelena and Alexei mean you should see Black Widow. John Walker and Valentina mean you should see Falcon and Winter Soldier. Where's all the crap Doctor Strange 2 and Marvels took for Wanda, Kamala, and Monica? One
was from TV shows, the other not.
Yeah.
Like Yelena is in a Black Widow movie.
So it's a movie. So it's not... Homework means
Ghost
Disney
is
Plus.
from Ant-Man.
Right.
Like, there's a fundamental difference between using characters from other movies and then doing a movie like Doctor Strange 2, where you're literally pulling in from a source that a lot of people don't watch. Like a lot of people who go to the movies to watch Marvel movies do not watch Disney Plus and do not watch the Disney Plus TV shows. So that's the fundamental difference. Now, the one character though,
John Walker,
in that is John Walker,
Yeah.
right? That's the one character that's somebody who doesn't watch the TV shows, but they're going to know Red Guardian. They're going to know Yelena. They're going to know Ghost. They're definitely going to know Bucky. And so, yeah, they're mostly from the movies, and that's the fundamental difference. Whereas you go into the Marvels, and like the Marvels was the majority of the main characters, 2 out of the 3 came from the world of TV, and nobody knew who they were when the trailers came out.
and
so
her
it's
family.
Yeah, and her family. It's a totally different situation with Thunderbolts. All right, what's next?
CJ, before Chadwick Boseman's passing, it was believed that he would become the next leader of the Avengers. Not by me. If Marvel gets the casting correct, could this new T'Challa become the de facto leader, or will they potentially stick with Sam Wilson? It doesn't make sense for him.
I think the results of Captain America: Brave New World, and this is again, let me reemphasize. Anthony Mackie is a treasure. He's like an amazing actor. He's great in everything he's in.
Dude, I loved him in the studio.
And he's so good in the studio. It's like, I'm all about that shit. And he's so good in that. And he's a wonderful Sam Wilson. But I listen, Marvel's got no choice but to see the results of both the fan results, both of the box office and the responses to Captain America: Brave New World. Sam can't be the leader of the Avengers.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, I never bought it as T'Challa because he's a world leader. He's the leader of his nation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of geopolitical issues he has to deal with now where he doesn't have, and also the Avengers are now a U.S. agency. They're not going to have the leader of another country.
Well,
become
whether
the
they
head of
are, or not, we'll see if they are or not.
Well, that's true.
Like, so I think it's possible they could have made T'Challa the new kind of centerpiece of the Avengers. I really don't know who that person can be. I don't believe it can be Sam Wilson. I don't think it can be Thor for obvious reasons. I don't think it can be Bruce Banner. I don't think it can be Elena. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know. Their one truly viable option was T'Challa. Like, he was your most viable even with the drawbacks, as Jonathan's pointing out. Even with the drawbacks, he was still the most viable. Out of who? Ant-Man? Ant-Man ain't gonna be the leader of the Avengers. Doctor Strange ain't gonna be the leader of the Avengers. So it's a good question. I really don't know who and you know what they may not do. Like, the only thing that signified who the leader of the Avengers was, the only thing in all of the MCU movies that ever hinted at or made a direct reference to who the Avengers was, I believe, in Avengers Age of Ultron. I think this is where the scene came from. The Avengers show back up to Stark Tower, and they're getting off the ship. And I believe it was Maria Hill went up to Tony and said, hey, something along the lines of, hey, boss, what do we do, blah, blah, blah. And Tony points at Steve as he's walking off the ship. And he's like, he's the boss.
Yeah.
I just pay for everything.
Right. I love that line.
So other than that one moment, and arguably when in Avengers 1, when they're doing the iconic circle in the streets,
Sure.
and Iron Man turns to Steve and says, call it, Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Really, those are the only two. So that's all to say that they may not have the need to say straight up who's the leader of the Avengers. They don't necessarily have to do that. I think they will. I'm just saying right now, your guess is as good as mine as to who it is. I think it was clear before. It just became clear that it was Steve and Tony. I don't know. I don't think it's clear anymore, especially with us not having T'Challa. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
All right. We got Rayor's long lost son is here. And here starts the whole CinemaCon blunder thing.
Yeah.
I got a 2-hour bus to attend the CinemaCon showcase for CinemaCon, and biggest waste of time. They only showed stuff already online, nothing from Sony or Amazon, no weapons, no last walk, exclusive content, biggest lie. I need a hug from my dad, Ray.
Wow,
Listen,
that sucks, man.
I'll tell you what. Look, I am a big advocate, and you guys know this. I'm a huge advocate and big fan of formerly known as NATO, now known as Cinema United, the trade organization that represents all movie theaters. They are the movie theater, organization that represents movie theaters around the world. They're the ones who put on CinemaCon. I'm a big fan. I love them. As a matter of fact, I recently started a conversation with some people over there saying, listen, when I retire, I want to use a good chunk of my time helping Cinema. I want to get involved with Cinema United. I want to, because me, movie theaters I love movie theaters. I'm passionate for the movie theater experience. I want it to grow and be great and all that kind of stuff. But last night, I got a couple of emails. I was telling Jonathan this when I came in this morning. I got a couple of emails from people last night who went to this. For those of you who don't know, both at Regal and at AMC, they put on this CinemaCon experience where they were going to show like 70 minutes of stuff that was only shown at CinemaCon. And I thought that was a great idea. But I started getting email last night from people saying who were angry, like who weren't disappointed, were angry. Because apparently they got there and all they showed, now granted they only charged $3 a ticket, but still, all they showed was stuff that's already been made public online.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, no The Long Walk, no web, like all the stuff that, and again, I understand studios have the final say as to whether or not you could show something or not. It's up to the individual studios. I get that. But if you're Cinema United, and I say this with love, because I love this organization, but if you're going to put on this event and you don't have the studio's permission to show anything that's not already publicly online, don't do the event.
Yep. Because
people, I know I wasn't there myself because I was at CinemaCon. Didn't need to go. But people went there with the expectation that they were going to see some exclusive stuff. They went there with the expectation that they were going to get to see some of the stuff that me and Ray and Rob and Ann and Cody got to see at CinemaCon that they have not yet put online. They were told this was an event. Pay $3, come on into the theater and have this exclusive fun little event. And they showed, again, I wasn't there. This is just from what people are telling me. They only showed stuff that was already online.
Yeah.
Cinema United, I'm not just now offering to work with you. You fucking need me.
dude,
Or somebody, because I would have told you, do not do this, because this will be a negative experience for people that will make people feel negatively about the organization. This was a terrible decision, because all I have heard is nothing but negativity, and y'all should have known that was the case. You created the impression that people come into this thing, we're going to get something exclusive. They're going to get stuff they hadn't seen before. That's the impression you gave. And for people then to forget the $3, what's the more valuable commodity? Time. People cancel plans, booked out the evening to come to an event that you implied was going to be this exclusive thing. You're going to get to see stuff, a true movie fans event, blah, blah, blah. And all you did was jumped on YouTube and clicked play on a few videos that are already available.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, again, you can't blame Cinema United if certain studios don't let you show their footage. Then don't do the event, or be very clear to the fans, because today the public perception of Cinema United is far more negative than it was yesterday. And that was avoidable. I could have told you that would have happened. A fourth grader could have told you that would happen. Who's making the decisions over there? Again, I say this with love because I love this organization. I do. But this was first-rate stupid. First-rate stupid. And people are mad, and they have every right to be.
there could be a really cool way of them doing this, like with just a little bit of work, like AMC Theaters, Regal, at CinemaCon, have a camera, have a correspondent.
They're not allowed to do that.
Oh, they can't go to the
The
convention?
studios have to give you permission to
No,
show
I meant
their
like
stuff.
to the concessions, like maybe a sneak preview of the popcorn buckets interweaved with footage that we exclusive footage.
Oh, that could have been cool too.
You know, just
Yeah.
to it's like, hey, since you don't have the credentials or you don't have the means to get here, we're gonna bring the CinemaCon experience to you.
Right.
You know, even I'm sure they had leftover CinemaCon shirts. Even just that one screening, give away those shirts or something like that. I mean, make it a bigger thing than just.
But that's
It's disheartening to hear that that's all they did is they went and got clips off of YouTube and charged people.
But and fans would have been fine with it if they actually got to see stuff that
Yeah.
you can't see online.
Yeah.
Even with like, I like your idea of like highlight the upcoming popcorn bucket. That's all good too. But honestly, the fans would have been okay without all that if they had got what you implied they were going to get,
Yeah.
which was exclusive look at stuff that only people at CinemaCon got to see. And I gotta say, man, this is a bad look on Cinema
Very
United.
bad look.
And again, I am saying that because you guys know, you guys who watch me and have watched me for any period of time, you know I am the biggest cheerleader for Cinema United. I am the biggest cheerleader for CinemaCon. I'm the biggest cheerleader for the organizations formerly known as NATO. I am a huge supporter of theirs. I love them. And I think because I love them so much, it's important that I say, man, they really dropped the ball. They really, I'll just be explicit about it. They fucked this up. They fucked this up so badly. And it's something that easily could have been fixed with a little bit of wisdom.
Good
But-
luck throwing another one of these again.
Yeah, now I don't think they'll ever let me work with them now because I'm sitting here trashing on them
No,
on how
but
bad they
it's-
fucked this up.
Well,
but
they're the ones who messed it
they
up,
did.
and people are mad. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
you got to call it like it is. They fucked this up badly.
Yeah, get the people on your side. Get the people to love the theaters, and that's
Yeah.
one part of it.
This was a great opportunity for Cinema United to not just put themselves in front of, the industry, but to put themselves in front of the fans.
Yeah.
Because they've never been a fan organization,
Right.
and that's understandable. They're not meant to be a fan organization.
Right.
But this was their first real big thing that they had to say, hey, fandom, here's us at Cinema United. We put on this thing called CinemaCon you've probably heard of. It's reasons to be excited about the theater, going experience and everything.
And then you told people
And
they're
all
not
you
good
do
enough
is
to
piss them
actually
off.
See it. Yeah.
They just pissed them off. And again, John, what could they have done if the studios won't let them show other stuff?
Yeah, you don't do it.
You don't do it. One of my former mentors gave me a piece of advice that I'm sure others have had too. He was just the first one I heard it from. And it's a piece of advice that I honestly navigate a lot of my decision making. And it's this: when in doubt, don't. When in doubt, don't. That doesn't mean don't take risks. That doesn't mean don't roll the dice. But if you have doubt in even the veracity of what you're doing, then just don't do it. Because this was a no-win situation. And anyway, I've gone on long enough about this, but Cinema United, you fucked this up. You really did. Because I'm hearing from film fans who are really pissed off. And it sounds like they have every right to be.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, what's next?
So we're gonna get a lot of those questions, but I feel like we've answered
Well,
them. But
but
we'll
still
read
read
them.
them off, yeah.
Yeah, we'll read them.
Oh, so we got more people wrote in about it.
Oh, a lot.
All
yeah.
right, let's go.
Okay, so Sean Clegg says, "Hey John, I got my tickets for CinemaCon Sneak Peek Showcase this Thursday for me and my friend, but what sucks is it's only an hour and 10 minutes, so they're probably not showing that much. I wish it was at least 2 hours, but hey, was only $3."
Yeah, and listen, we knew going into it that it was a 70-minute long thing. They did advertise that it was a 70-minute long thing, so that's fine. All right.
Raymond Brada, I saw on NBC News that Oscars will require voters to watch the movies which were nominated in their respective categories. Even the anchor Haley Jackson asked, "Isn't that what they're supposed to be doing?" Good luck on watching all 10 films for Best Picture. Well, they should be doing
Yeah,
that.
well, here's
That's
the
easy
thing.
enough.
Here, look, I said this on the show yesterday. I will reiterate it. Was there really ever a problem with that? The answer is no.
No.
There was never really a problem with this. Like, I'm sure a few scraggling losers here and there didn't watch the movies in certain categories before voting on them, but it's a 9,000 voting member base. These are people who make movies their life's work. They love movies more than you and I do. They watch more movies than you and I do. They watch the films.
Yeah.
They watch them. But it was still a very good idea, I think, for them to actually put it on paper, put it in print. This is a rule. And if you don't get to vote in that category. Again, do I think it was ever a problem? No, it was never a problem. But I'm sure there were examples of some loser scragglers who didn't do their jobs. So again, I think it was a great thing that they made the rule, but it doesn't really fix a problem because the problem was never really there.
Right.
All right. What's next?
AL. I was already annoyed with the chicken jockey craze, but this weekend I was disgusted upon hearing about an incident in Rhode Island where it led to 2 employees getting stabbed. So to everyone in this craze, please stop. But these are criminals. It's
Yeah,
not
these aren't Minecraft fans.
These are people who saw the hype and they're like, let's go cause some trouble.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't blame that on like people who are just assholes in theaters and throwing popcorn. That doesn't mean they're out to stab people.
Yeah,
I mean,
these are
they're
criminals.
clearly
That really
people are just. I've not heard of it, but
I'm not shocked. I mean, they're criminals.
Jeez, what are we doing, people?
Well,
All right,
they're
what's
criminals.
next?
Chef Ian. Let's see. Well, this is just a complaint about our spoilers, but look, man, we put up the spoilers. We give a lot of warning about that. So, I mean, I don't know what else we can do. Like, there's times when we talk about
Well,
Andor
go ahead
or
and
something.
read the thing in its entirety.
It's hey John, been with you since the movie blog. I would appreciate a little more discretion in how you speak about shows the days after airing. When talking about Last of Us, not Andor, sorry. Season 2, you immediately said the event happened, but we did give a spoiler warning.
Look, not everybody likes this philosophy, but it's my philosophy, and I'm not changing it. Movies are different than TV shows, right? When something is broadcast out on TV and it's available for everybody to watch if they want to watch it, they don't have to buy tickets. They don't have to book a babysitter. They don't have to travel to go to a movie theater, commit 2 or 3 hours being at the theater. No, it's just on TV. If you wanted to watch it, you can watch it. If it's on TV, as far as I'm concerned, it's fair game to talk about the next day. I liken it unto another thing that's on TV, sports. Like there was a Laker game last night. And guess what? The moment that game was over, everybody's talking about it.
Immediately.
Like, should ESPN not say, we're not going to tell you the score of last night's game just in case you haven't had a chance to watch it yet? No, as a sports fan, one of the things that I know is that if I don't want to know what happened on TV last night, then it's my responsibility to not jump on social media. Stay away from it until I'm able to view it. I don't see it as being any different from when they're airing a 1-hour television show versus broadcasting a 3-hour sporting event. Like going back to Sons of Anarchy, my second all-time favorite show, my number 2 all-time favorite show, Sons of Anarchy. I knew that, and I watched it every night when they would drop, but sometimes I wasn't available to watch it the night that it dropped. But I knew it was my responsibility then the next day that if I haven't watched the episode yet, that's my responsibility to stay off social media or stay off watching shows that talk about TV shows. That's my responsibility, is to avoid that. It's not ESPN's responsibility to hide the results of last night's game from you. And I've always felt that there is a big difference between movies that way in theaters and television that's there. If you wanted to watch it, you could watch it. And if you couldn't, then it's your job to avoid online discussion until you have a chance to catch up. Now, even though that's my philosophy, we still take steps to try to, just in case you haven't, we'll put up our little spoiler warning and we'll try to mitigate it much. But I'm just telling you moving forward that if something was on TV last night, we will still try to take steps to be as careful as we can by putting up spoiler warnings. But listen, if you're coming to watch a show the next day, that our job is to talk about TV shows and movies, then it's on you. Don't watch, like if you can't watch The Last of Us on Sunday night, don't watch the Monday John Campea Show. If you don't want to know anything that happened at all, just in case we might let something slip out before putting up the spoiler warning.
And we give verbal warning of the spoilers.
Then come back and watch Monday's show on Tuesday after you have had a chance. But that is my philosophy on the difference between spoilers in things that's broadcast on TV for anybody to see and going to a movie theater.
Well,
so
and everything that they're talking about, okay, whether it's Andor, whether it's Last of Us, it's in the trades. So you're avoiding the trades. You're avoiding Variety, whatever, Gus's gas station. You're avoiding all those trades, but you're not avoiding us talking about what's in the trades.
Yeah, and even though we'll still try to be careful, but it is what it is. Listen, there is a chance that the day after a big show, and it's been out for like 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, that we may drop some details about it. It is what it is, and that's not going to change. I'm just being honest with you.
And if
I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just being honest with you. That is my philosophy.
Yeah.
And it's how I conduct myself as a fan, that I know it's my job to avoid things if I missed a show. It's not outlet's job to hide, to protect me from it. Then that's my philosophy, and it's not going to change.
And
All
if we
right.
don't talk about it, we'll have an equal amount of people saying, I cannot believe you guys didn't talk about it.
Oh, dude, that happens all the time.
Like, why am I watching this show? if you're
Seriously,
not gonna
no.
talk
The amount
about
of emails we got, I can't believe you guys lost your credibility because this thing is important. You didn't talk about it. It's like,
Yeah.
well, anyway. All right, what's next?
Garden Variety. John, as the new Brawny T'Challa, could the issue of a variant version be because he would not have emotional ties with the other characters? I feel that was the case with Gamora, and if he's 11, no problem, just give him a stick. No need for herbs.
There's a little Robin thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not because this one doesn't have the emotional connection with the other characters. It's because it's not T'Challa. It's T'Challa Jr. or Brawny T'Challa or whatever he also said his name.
Time.
Whatever his name they said was in the movie. It doesn't matter. It's not T'Challa.
Yeah.
It's a third character given themselves the name Black Panther in 3 movies. I hope that's not the way they go. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Yasmar says, I need a 6-episode miniseries of Deidre Cyril and his mom. Why the hell am I rooting for this couple? I'll never forgive you for this, Tony Gilroy.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I don't like Cyril.
He is a
But
psycho.
man, I became kind of a Cyril fan after the new episodes. Like, I won't give the context. I'll just say there's a shot where Cyril's lying on a bed face down. That when it came, again, I won't tell you the context of it, but just because of what led up to that and then that shot, I laughed my ass off. I suddenly now I want to see more of Cyril. I want to see more of Cyril but again, the mom is awesome. I love the mom. I could listen to the mom just talk for hours. I love her voice. All right, what's next?
Alfie. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, Alfie, thank you for recommending The Pit. It's so good. Now, can we get a crossover where Abby shows up with her golf clubs and uses them on the a-hole that sucker punched Dana?
Oh, geez. Yeah. I forget the name. I'm actually really surprised they never looped back around to that. Because in The Pit, there's an episode where this big, ignorant, racist piece of shit just sees a nurse standing outside and goes and punches her in the face. And then they never come back around to it. I was expecting some kind of something. I guess they didn't need to. It's all the events that happened in one day, so it was fine. But yeah, I wanted to see that guy get his. All right, what's next?
John D says, hi, John, love the show. Given that we're amidst the NBA playoffs, I'm curious, what would be your film industry, quote unquote, equivalent of the Luka Doncic trade, as in something completely mind-blowing, unexpected that shakes the movie world?
For people who don't know sports, it's a great question, by the way. The Luka Doncic trade was one of the most incompetent things I've ever seen a sports general manager do. And I'm not talking about the Lakers. I'm talking about Nico Harris, the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, who literally traded away an arguably top 3 best basketball player in the world, who was 25 years old, 25, and the most beloved son of Dallas. Dallas loved this guy, Luka Magic. He does things I've never seen anybody else do. And they traded him away for a 32-year-old excellent basketball player in Anthony Davis, who is always injured. He traded a 25-year-old generational superstar for a guy I really like, but let's be honest, a broken down, constantly injured, past his prime, still got many good years left, don't get me wrong, but past his prime, Anthony Davis. If the only equivalent thing I can think of to that is, what if Sony traded the rights of Spider-Man
Right.
to Lionsgate for the rights to the Expendables?
Not even John Wick.
No, not even John Wick. No. The Expendables. That's seriously the closest movie equivalent I can come up with. Sony trades Spider-Man for the Expendables. That's the closest equivalency thing I can come up with. Anyway. All right, what's
That
next?
is harsh. Anonymous says, "Hey John, is the UFC worth getting into for the price? I saw one of the Saturday events was $80. Seems expensive to keep up. If it's that pricey for the main events, I'll choose WWE, even though it's scripted and iffy these days." Is he talking about like pay-per-view?
Yeah, I've bailed on them.
Yeah.
And you guys, that's a big deal for me because you guys know how passionate. Like I've been in MMA for 30 years. I mean, I train at the UFC gym here. All that stuff, but I think out of the last 7 pay-per-views, I think maybe I've gotten 1 or 2. They've chased me off, and I think they're good. Like, because I used to get them when the pay-per-views were $40,
Yeah.
and then they were $50. And then just a couple of years ago, they were $60, and then they were $70, and then they're $80. And I just went, you know what? You've chased me off. I'm not gonna pay that. I'll watch the free ones, and I do. I'll watch the free ones. I love the sport, but I ain't paying you $80 to watch a political rally. It's just, even when you got some of my favorite fighters fighting, I just don't. It's just $80 for. So just no. So they chased me off. They chased, and if somebody who's a real passionate MMA fan got chased off because of their pricing, I guarantee you there are others as well. So I would say no. UFC is not worth getting into. Anyway, all right. What's next?
All right. Roger Gregg has a bit of a, Last of Us spoiler, but I think we've kind of said we're moving into this. So, spoiler for Last of Us. Abby's revenge story didn't make sense to me. Joel killed her dad to save his daughter. Wasn't that self-defense? Did Abby not know her dad was going to kill Ellie? Well, no. Abby is okay with killing kids. I didn't play the game, so I don't know. I think it's like a serious question. He doesn't know the story.
The basic thing, and just to really oversimplify it, is the whole reason they were trying to get Ellie to the Fireflies is because Ellie is immune to the infection. The only person in the world that they know of who is. They had doctors there that could figure out a way to maybe create a cure. They think they had a way to do it, but it required them taking things from her brain, which means killing the patient.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellie was okay with that. Now, Joel didn't know when he brought her there that it would mean they would have to kill her in order to do it. In order to save the world, they may have to kill her. And Joel understands that he probably did the wrong thing, because if he felt he did the right thing, he would have told Ellie what he did, but he lied to Ellie instead. Because Ellie was like, you swear to me that it happened just the way you said, and he lied to her. And I think deep down she always kind of, maybe she knew he lied to her. And he opted to murder 20 people to get her out,
And
to get her out of something that she would have chosen to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he took away the world's chance of having a cure and saving the world. Yeah. Now, again, I don't say that as an indictment on Joel, because it's more complicated than that. He came to view her as a daughter, and what would you have done? Right. So yeah, I'm not taking away, but I'm just saying from the other side of it, they thought they had a way to save millions of people, maybe billions of people, to save society, to save their species. And that's what they were there to do, to try to save our species, the human race. And in order to get them to stop doing that, he literally murdered a whole ton of people.
And to be,
if you can say that you think Joel was perfectly justified to want to go get Ellie, then how can you say that you don't understand Abby wanting vengeance for that guy killing her father?
Right.
But shoot him in the head. Just get it over with. I mean, the way she did it was kind of way brutal.
Oh, yeah,
and really
that's-
disgusting. That's why I can never be at her side. No human should get the joy out of doing that to anybody, no matter what they've done.
Well, that was part of.
That's
I would've.
torture. That's torture.
I would've.
That's a sick individual.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. If somebody murders my sister, and it takes me 5 years
Yeah.
to find that person,
But
oh
if-
my God, I'm not doing it quick.
Yeah.
I'm taking
That's
pliers.
disgusting.
I'm ripping out your.
That's disgusting.
You killed my sister.
Yeah, but if he just shot, like, okay, if you killed any of my family members, and let's say I knew the reason why, like they were gonna kill someone who looked like seemed a daughter to you, you gotta. I just would just shoot them in the head. That's it. That's the I would get it. But
You
that's
say that.
But the torture thing is just disgusting, man.
You say
I
that when
couldn't
you're
even
not
watch
in their
it.
situation, though. It's easy to say that when you're not actually in the
Yeah, but
situation.
the action of actually torturing someone, it's just always been disgusting to me. I wouldn't even do that to an ant, is what I'm saying. It's just
yeah, I don't know, man.
There's just a certain person that would do something like that. I
And
just
for
could
the
never-
record, Abby was not enjoying it. That was her taking out her rage. There was no smile on her face. She wasn't enjoying it. That was just her wanting to pour all of her rage out. And again, it's like, to me, it's also inconceivable that you wouldn't let one person get sacrificed to save millions of people's daughters, to save all of society, to save all of civilization. And you're going to kill people. You're going to murder people who are just there trying to save civilization.
Yeah, I would
and you're going
never
to murder them.
sacrifice my sister. No
That's
way.
hard to imagine too, right?
I don't care for the.
But again, if it was your dad or your sister or your daughter, then you can see yourself doing it. And I think if
I
it
would
was,
get revenge for sure, but not that way.
Oh,
That's just disgusting.
I don't know. I think it's impossible for you to say that if you're not in the situation.
I can say that I don't agree with torture.
Well, yeah,
And
sure.
I totally agree with that. But you can't judge me and say
But
I would do that.
that's the thing about The Last of Us, which is the brilliance of it. And what I love about it is that one of the main driving themes of the second story is what pain will do to people.
Yeah.
Because
Well, two sides of that coin.
pain will turn you into something you never thought you could be with the right amount of pain. And like, we're about to see Ellie become something you never thought Ellie would be because of pain.
And the flip side, though, is giving into that pain. What's the true cost? Are
Yeah.
you willing? What's the true cost? And are you really willing to give up that?
Anyway. All right. What's next?
Anonymous says, still disappointed that we won't get more Sasha Kaye from the Flash movie as Supergirl. But on the bright side, we get Isabella Merced, who plays Dina in The Last of Us as Hawk Girl in the new Superman movie.
Oh yeah, and what's her name? House of the Dragon Girl.
Alcock,
Yeah,
Millie.
Millie. She's going to be a great Supergirl. And yeah, I thought Sasha was a really good Supergirl. I like that iteration of Supergirl, but I also understand completely them, unfortunately, moving on. And again, I think Millie Alcock is going to be a great Supergirl, and I think Isabella Merced is going to be a great Hawkgirl too. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Vixter, last 4 TV episodes directed by Mark Mylod were the latest Last of Us, the last 2 episodes of Succession, and Connor's wedding episode of Succession. That's quite a list.
Yep, that's pretty good. This guy ain't going to be hurting for work.
No.
This is a guy who will not be having a hard time finding his next gig. That's for sure. All right, what's next?
Nathan says, hey, crew, so we all assume Lilo and Stitch live action film is going to make all the money. However, no one has talked about how it will possibly bury Mission Impossible since they both released the same weekend, May 23rd.
Two different audiences. And if anything that Barbenheimer taught us is that if you can have two big movies open at the same time if they are distinctly targeting different audiences. I mean, Barbie was targeting a different audience than Oppenheimer was. Mission Impossible is definitely targeting a different movie-going experience and a different audience than Lilo and Stitch is. So I think they can both do well. I would say this, if somebody wants to see Mission Impossible, even if they feel like they need to take their kids to go see Lilo and Stitch first, they're still going to go see Mission Impossible at some point. So I think it'll be fine. I think it'll either succeed or fail on its own merits. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Nathan, we did Nathan. Abby's Golf Club. So, hey, John and crew. So instead of watching Andor last night, my friend and I eagerly went out to our local Regal to see the Cinema Foundation sneak peek showcase. I was crossing my fingers for some Avatar Wicked or at least some Running Man footage. Well, To say I was disappointed would be a huge understatement. Highlights included trailers and BTS featurettes for Jurassic World, Ballerina, How to Train Your Dragon, and F1 Thunderbolts, Superman, Lilo Stitch, and Accountant 2. The best part is that every clip trailer shown was already released online for several months. The biggest punch in the face was the Fantastic Four trailer and teaser, and the first trailer for The Bad Guys 2. It was embarrassing. This was not made for movie fans. I could have put together a better YouTube playlist. I guess this was for people who haven't watched trailers this year. And the theater still played regular trailers before the presentation.
Oh my God.
Some even
Better
repeated.
trailers.
Yeah, so some were in the showcase. Anyway, thank you for indulging my rant. I'm just so dumbfounded as to why they did this. The advertised description was wildly misleading. No new footage at all. It's an hour and 10. I'll never get back. Time to watch Andor. Have a good one. The fact that they had to watch trailers twice
Yeah, they actually played a trailer that they were going to showcase.
in the sneak peek.
Now, again, listen, let me be very clear. I wasn't there, so I'm getting all this secondhand from people reporting this. But again, the message is just poured in, man, that like people were upset. And I don't know who over at Cinema United put this together or made the decisions for how they were going to market it or how they were going to imply what fans were and were not going to see. But again, I say this as your biggest supporter and your biggest fan. You really messed this up.
Yeah.
You really messed this up. So
I have to say the people who actually went, because obviously they're going because they are extremely love the movie theater.
big film fans.
You lost their trust now.
Yep.
And you gave
Yep.
everyone another reason why they should just stay home, because everything that you've shown is at home. So
And, and again, it goes back to the old saying: you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
what
And
a horrible!
boy,
Oh
did
my
you just
god!
blow it. You blew it. How do you do something again? If you had just given me or any sane, rational person a call and said, "Here's what we're planning on showing at this event. What do you think?" I or any other sane human being would have said, "This is just going to piss people off. Cancel the event." Like, what are you thinking? Anyway,
Did this guy say he went to a Regal?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
So it's the same thing at both.
Yeah,
all
it's
the
everywhere.
theaters.
Yeah.
Not even a special Regal cut or
Nah.
yeah, special Regal
No,
cut.
because they had their like.
They had it in 40X.
Yeah, and 40X.
Oh my god!
All right, what's next?
Raymond
embarrassing.
says, more thoughts on new Oscar rule about voters having to watch movies they're nominating. Would Chalamet have won if people haven't spent too much time watching The Brutalist? Does Scott Mance have beef if La La Land had not enough votes to beat Moonlight? I think ultimately it wouldn't have necessarily changed votes, though. I mean, even if, let's say you watched 4 out of 5 of the categories and you voted a certain way, even if you had watched that 5th one, would you still not have nominated the one you were going to originally nominate anyway? It's hard to say.
Well, but that's the point, right? You didn't give that film you skipped a
Right.
chance to do it.
Yeah.
But again, I really that hasn't been a problem. That hasn't been a problem.
Right. I know they made this rule and it put
And it should be a rule.
and it made a bullhorn, and all of a sudden people are like, wait, is this a massive problem? No one watches
no,
anything?
it never was. It never was a problem. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're going to find some instances, but that's the beauty of having a 9,000 voting member base.
Yeah.
Is that if you get 5 or 6 or 7 idiots who don't do what they're supposed to do, their votes won't mean anything because it's less than 0.001% of the votes. So it really would, but again, it should be a rule. And I think it's a good thing that they did officially make it a rule.
And I like that you have to now log into their server. It's monitored.
Yeah. They can tell if you've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the most important part to me. JP says, remember that sneak peek showcase I donated about? Yeah, I think I've heard 1 or 2 things about it. Seems to have been completely false advertised. They said there would be CinemaCon footage for stuff like Wicked, Avatar. Said none of those. Everything was online. People are mad.
Yeah, people are angry and they have every right to be angry. Like again, it's not the $3, but like somebody who just wrote in a little bit earlier said they decided to, instead of watching Andor, which I'm sure they'd been looking forward to for a long time, they chose instead to spend their evening coming out to the theater and watching this presentation you told them would be worth it.
Yeah.
And again, I cannot fathom the level of stupidity that it takes to put something like that on. The level of stupidity is actually mind-blowing. I'll be honest with you. It makes me lose almost all faith in this organization.
Yeah.
At least the people, they remember, like any organization, they have different departments. They have people who actually run CinemaCon. They do a great job. The CinemaCon is always fantastic. But whoever they had in charge running this thing, I don't trust them anymore. Whoever they are.
Remember our first CinemaCon? How much love was put in?
Oh,
They should have put
so-
as much love into this first
Yes.
event ever than they did for the first CinemaCon. What are you doing?
Because it was like, this was your first thing that you are doing specifically for film fans.
Yeah.
There is no
It was
next time.
such an opportunity.
Anyone that
There is
knows
no next time.
There's no next time. No, there's no next time.
anyone that knows about this event are film fans, because anyone that's not would be like, what's CinemaCon? You know?
And here's the big problem. Had you done this right, this would become an annual event that film fans would look forward to every year.
Yeah.
That a month after CinemaCon, I'm going to be able to go to AMC or Regal, wherever, and I'm going to be able to watch maybe not everything they showed at CinemaCon,
Yeah, of course.
but we're going to be able to see a whole bunch of stuff that isn't available to the rest of the world. It would have become a thing. To Ray's point now, there is no next time.
Yeah, there is no
No
next
one's
time.
going to trust you again. No one is going to trust you next year. So you blew it. You totally blew it.
Totally
anyway.
blew it.
All right, what's next?
Brian's Game Talk. John, you've mentioned that your favorite actor of all time is Russell Crowe.
No. He is not my favorite actor of
Yeah.
all time. Anyway, he is my favorite current actor today. But anyway, keep going.
Mine is Denzel Washington, and with their powers combined, they gave us the best piece of sci-fi cinema in history. That's right, the masterpiece Virtuosity.
Did they?
At first, I thought you were going to say American Gangster.
Oh yeah,
Were they both in that movie too?
Virtuosity. Yeah.
Yeah,
Russell
American
Crowe and-
Gangster? Yeah, it was the two of them, wasn't it?
Oh.
Russell Crowe and Denzel.
Oh, no.
Washington?
No, sorry. I was thinking of something completely different.
Okay, but
That was Denzel and Russell Crowe.
It is
Ameri-
Russell.
he was
Okay,
an
yeah,
American
okay.
Gangster.
Yeah.
So, I
Don't doubt yourself,
think
John.
my favorite actor of all time is the GOAT,
Yeah.
is Daniel Day-Lewis. My second favorite actor of all time is probably Peter O'Toole.
He's one of my favorites.
Maybe third or fourth would be, but like Russell Crowe's my favorite guy currently going.
Sure.
Like I love Russell. Even when he's in a bad movie,
Hey, baby cakes.
he brings it. Like he totally brings it, even when
Or
he's
chill,
in a bad
baby
movie.
cakes.
And he's been in some bad movies, but yeah, I think he's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Enough virtuosity talk. KC Max says, hey, John and crew, just letting you guys know if you still plan to see that special sneak peek preview showcase that AMC was putting on. It wasn't AMC, but I'll tell you, don't even waste your time. The stuff they show is the stuff that's already come to online. There was no Avatar, no Wicked, no For Good, no Project Moonbase. It was pretty much Trailer Fest that we have all seen already online. And the Fantastic Four trailer they even showed was the old one. Just a complete waste of time. Not even the new Fantastic Four trailer.
I mean, again, listen, when you got this many people writing in, it's a real problem.
Yeah.
Now I know the PR head of Cinema United, and I thought about emailing him this morning when I started getting all these messages from people. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to bother. That dude is probably getting flooded today.
You know,
I would cancel all the showings, the rest of the showings.
Oh
if
yeah,
they
I
have
would
anymore.
cancel. Yeah, absolutely.
Just
They
take it
should
out.
Absolutely. I thought it was a one night only thing.
Oh, I don't. Let me.
I
Apparently
didn't know
not.
it's supposed to be like something that keeps, like, I thought it was like one night only.
Oh,
Not
okay.
according to these
Hopefully it
people.
was.
If
one
it's
night
on,
only.
yeah, just cancel the rest of them, dude. Just cancel them.
Man, this is going back to that old adage about marketing, though. If something's real good, you might hear about it. If something's bad, we're definitely
You're definitely going to hear about it. Yeah.
Woo.
All right, what's next?
James Wheeler with a $20 tip.
Thank you, James.
Hello, everyone. I recently, speaking of Peter O'Toole, I recently rewatched Beckett and The Lion in Winter. I love those movies and still love them. Great performance from Peter O'Toole. Have you seen them?
Yes, and I swear to God, I had no idea that. Like, how random is it
know.
that I just brought up Peter O'Toole?
I know.
And that's okay.
You're one with your fans.
Yeah, like that guy. Like, even if you go beyond Lawrence of Arabia and stuff like that, I'm gonna bring up. I just want to see what year this came out. But my actual favorite, and this is nobody's favorite. Oh my God, it was 1982. My favorite Peter O'Toole movie is a little film called My Favorite Year.
I've seen it.
that I can't get the full. I don't know why I can't get the. You can bring up my screen,
Okay.
but there's the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I love his performance in this movie. He's so good in it. He was even in Stardust.
Yeah.
He plays the king
Yeah.
at the beginning of the movie, which I couldn't believe they got Peter O'Toole to be in that.
He was in Great in Troy, remember?
Oh, he's just. I mean, he was remarkable. He was such a remarkable performer. I really wish he was our generation.
Beckett
instead of
and the
last
Lion
one.
in Winter. I'm a history nerd, but Beckett and the Lion in Winter specifically like sparked my love for British history, and like, and so him as King Henry II. Oh my god! And then it just opened the door to that for me, and I love those movies.
All right, what's next?
And for your information, it's not a one-time event. It says on the poster April 22nd. I don't know if that's
And the 24th.
through 24th or and 24th.
And 24th.
Oh
yeah.
God, cancel them.
Cancel.
Cancel them.
Get 'em
Just
out.
refund the tickets and cancel
You
them.
don't want no petition going around for a
Don't do it.
refund.
Harv's K. Sadly, CinemaCon Showcase at AMC was disappointing.
God.
Every trailer that was shown was already released. The only exclusive was an underwhelming scene of Elio. No Avatar 2, Wicked 2, Running Man, Zootopia 2, no weapons, no Project Hail Mary.
Out of all the things they actually gave you,
And again, I'll say this:
I'm sorry. I hate to
you
laugh.
can't be blamed if you're Cinema United. You can't. You can only show what the studios say you can show. Right? If you're Disney and Fox and you don't want that Avatar footage out to be public and you don't want it played at these screenings, well, then Cinema United doesn't have a choice. They don't get to play it. What I'm saying is, if you're Cinema United and you want to put this event together, and it's a good idea, the event is a good idea.
It's a great idea, actually. I think.
Once you realize that you have not been able to secure permissions from its studios to show enough truly exclusive new stuff to the fans, and once you realize, hey, 69 of our 70-minute presentation is just going to be all stuff that's available online for free already, you should have just canceled the event. You shouldn't have it, because now you just piss people off.
I have a question for you. Logistics wise, the movie studios need movie theaters, right? In
Yeah.
order to make money. How hard would it to be for the
just
theaters
approve?
to ask them to
That's a
show
lot
that
of
footage?
legal stuff.
Like that, I know what
Well, I'm
would the
sure
problem
they did
be?
ask.
What's
I'm
the
sure Cinema United did ask.
Because even just showing the intro to every presentation where they had the intro of Running Man with the interviews and then the Project Hail Mary with the interviews would have been great as a package.
How
because-
great would it have been to have that Tom Cruise speech?
Yeah.
Like even just like, okay, maybe we don't have footage show. You guys should see this speech Tom Cruise against about McG.
Right.
Not McG, I'm sorry.
McHugh.
McHugh. Like how great that was a great speech he gave.
I feel like this was an afterthought by the organization, and
It
had
was.
they pre come up with this idea, they would have had these contracts in place with the studios. It should have been much more forethought.
Yeah. Now, and I get it from the studios. They're like, listen, we are not ready to start putting footage out to the world. We show it at CinemaCon because those are the movie theater owners.
Yeah.
We want to present this to the movie theater owners, but we don't want it out in public yet. I understand that. And again, I understand that it's not Cinema United's fault that certain studios maybe not give them permission to show Project Hail Mary or Wicked for Good or whatever else. Then don't do the event. If you can't put on the event that you're telling people you're going to give them, then don't do the event. It's basically Fire Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the movie version of Fire Festival.
Now, had they done it
just
this
got a
way,
new
had
name.
they said this is a free event, but you have to pre-reserve your space, then maybe okay because it's a free event, and then the only thing you're giving up is your time. But still,
Again, I think the time is the bigger issue because it's $3.
Yeah, $3.
Nobody
an hour,
cares
10
about
minutes.
their $3.
Yeah, but
I
people have to
want my
drive there.
$2.
Exactly, Ray. It's the time. You had to book out the evening. You could have been doing other things with your time. You could have watched the Laker game. You could have watched Andor. You could have done anything.
And I would like to read the messages that we got before they went to go see
Oh,
this.
the
The
excitement.
excitement, the excitement these viewers had. I don't see the negatives of having footage there because it'll only bring excitement to your projects.
No. There's a huge science to timing.
Okay.
When you have stuff up.
See, that's the part I don't know. That's why I asked you.
And some of the stuff, don't forget, some of the stuff they show us at CinemaCon wasn't exactly finished
Yeah.
either. So they don't want people's first, like, for instance, Avatar Fire and Ash is still like 9 months away. They know that you have to start building your excitement only a certain amount out from it. You don't want incomplete footage. And remember, they also didn't put this footage together as a trailer to hit the audience right. They just put some footage together for theater owners to see. So they don't want that to be the audience's first impression with it.
But what about the Final Destination scene? That would have helped because it's out May 16th.
Yeah, stuff that's newer, that's coming up more.
If I were, which studio was that? Was that Lionsgate?
That's Lionsgate.
Or was it Universal?
Oh, no. Wasn't it Blumhouse? Is it Blumhouse? Well, let me actually.
No. Blumhouse is not a distributor. They're just
okay. But anyway, I'll look that up.
Anyway, yes, I think they should. I think that would have been a good idea. Put that. See, but you know what? Very few. Rarely.
New Line's in there.
It was New Line. I don't think they wanted to give. You don't normally show a full 5 minutes to the public, right? So,
but you don't want to go see it, right?
But that would have been good. That would have been a good one to show as the Final Destination stuff. Anyway, all right.
well.
We're running out of time here.
What a disaster, man.
All right. Chip Crisper. Hey, John, I'm loving Andor so far. However, I've been an ad-free subscriber to Disney Plus since it started and got an ad on one of the Andor episodes. Disney Plus told me the select shows still get ads and no ad tier. Needs to say I'm pissed. Thoughts, things, bring on the filthy.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Like, first of all, I know that on Disney Plus, like if you're watching live events, they will still put in some ads. That's understandable. I've also been on Hulu and Disney Plus and some others where I've had the ad-free plan, but it said right at the beginning, due to contracts, this episode will play with an ad before the show. Now, did they play an ad before they started the episode? Or were you literally halfway through Andor, an episode, and it stopped and showed an ad? Because I have the ad-free Disney Plus, and I got no ads. I got none. So did you get one at the beginning or in the middle? Because if it's at the beginning, I'm fine with that. As long as you're not interrupting my viewing experience. Showing me one commercial at the beginning, it's not a good idea, but it's not the worst thing in the world. One commercial before the show starts. So did they actually interrupt your viewing? Or was it at the beginning? And again, I didn't get any ads. I'm just curious, you guys in the live chat who saw Andor last night, did any of you guys get ads? Do you have the ad-free Disney Plus plan? And if so, did you get any ads? I did not. And so maybe it was a glitch. I don't know. I'll look into that though.
All right. We got like 22 more.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have time.
Do you want to just take a couple more and then take him the rest tomorrow?
Well,
I don't know.
No, we're already over time.
We're over 2 hours, so.
I didn't realize we got that many questions in.
The lot popped in, so.
All right, guys, here's what I'll do. You guys know we like to get through every question before we end the show, but we're already over 2 hours for today. And I've gotten an appointment in about 20 minutes. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to do a companion video. I will put up a companion video. You know what? Maybe I'll do a open mic later. Yeah. I'm going to do an open mic later because I'm not going to do an Andor after show.
Right. Oh, you're not? Okay.
No, not going to do an Andor after show. Maybe I'll do it after the next one, but I just didn't like this one enough to do an after show for it.
I see.
So I will do an open mic later tonight, and it won't be too late. And when I do it, I will start off by answering the questions that we didn't get around to, and then I'll take the live questions. So that's what I will do. So I apologize that we didn't get around to all the questions today. Normally, we have no problem getting through all of them. I'll make sure we get through the rest of them a little bit later.
And also give the people who were looking forward to maybe an Andor after show to send you questions during the open mic about if you want to talk about that, right? Are you taking questions for open mic during open mic, or are you just?
I take questions during. I don't know if I can take Andor spoiler. I don't know. Well, I'll think about that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Also, just so you guys know, for those of you who are our beloved channel members, there is a channel member town hall meeting at 3 p.m. Los Angeles time. You figure out what time that is in your time zone. That's 6 p.m. on the East Coast. If you're not on the East Coast, you figure out the time zone. So if you are a channel member, come on by for a channel members town hall meeting at 3 p.m. I'll look forward to seeing you there. So that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, because you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thanks to both Rob and Chris who were here a little bit earlier. I want to thank Ray Ora,
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
Hey guys.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.